Odds are, if you've ever looked into manually removing the weeds in your yard, you've come across Grandpa's weeder or the Fiskars Deluxe stand-up weeder. And today, we're gonna put them both to the test, demonstrate, and compare the two. What's up, guys? I'm Rhett. Welcome back to Lawn Insider. Now, fortunately for me, but unfortunately for the purposes of making a weed pulling video, most of my lawn looks like this. So I don't have a whole lot of areas where I can test these tools out, but we are going to head to an undisclosed location and we're gonna put these tools through their paces. But first, let's take a closer look at each piece of equipment. Here's a close-up look at both tools laying side by side. We have Grandpa's weeder right here, and then this is the Fiskars Deluxe stand-up weeder. Grandpa's weeder has a wooden handle, and then you have the metal extraction head there at the end. And then Fiskars also has a metal extraction head. It does have some plastic components like right here and right here. Up here is plastic as well. This part is also a metal. So we have some mixed metal and plastic on the Fiskars. This one is wood and metal. And the other main difference that you'll see in the construction of the two is that the Fiskars has this eject handle. And the way that works is once you get a weed in the extraction head up here, which is what this little leverage bar is used for, on both, by the way. So they're both gonna work pretty similarly. But once you get the weed in here, you're gonna use this ejection handle and you slide that down and you'll see that that's going to release the weed. Whereas on Grandpa's weeder, when you have a weed in here, you have to manually reach down all the way to the end of the tool and take it out by hand. So that's the main difference in the construction of the two tools. So we're gonna start out here with Grandpa's weeder. I've actually had this one for 2 or 3 seasons at this point. I really just got the Fiskars for the purpose of making this comparison demonstration video. But we'll start right here. We got a nice little broadleaf weed. And the way both of them are gonna work is that you're gonna try to put it while it's open in the very center of the weed, and then you're going to slightly press on it with your foot there, and then when you pull back on this handle, that lever is going to be used to close the extraction head, and then you pull out your weed. And you can see that the tool did a good job, in this case at least, of getting it all the way down to the root. And I did have to reach all the way down in order to get the weed out of the tool. So if you're gonna do that over and over again repeatedly for dozens of weeds, then that might be taxing after a while. But let's go ahead and find another weed to go after. So here we go, here's another one. We'll go right here. Step in. Use for leverage, pull back. And again, it did a good job of getting the entire weed as well as the root. Now I'm going to show y'all what it looks like when we are using the tool on a more clump grass style weed. So we have one right here. If you get a real huge weed, this isn't going to do a great job of pulling out the entire thing, but on these smaller weeds, it can get out the entire clump as well as the root system. And now we are going to grab the Fiskars and we're going to do the same thing. Now I've got the Fiskars and we're going to go through and we are going to basically put it through the same paces and see how it performs. So we've got a whopper of a weed right here. Gonna go around it. The extraction head, or like the 4 claws on the Fiskars, are actually sharper. So it went in the ground without me even pressing, but I am gonna go ahead and step just to be extra sure that we've got a good enough grip on the weed. And then I'm going to pull back. And look at that. So there is the root on the weed. And then look what happens whenever I use the eject handle. It releases it by itself where I don't have to go down every time all the way to the end of the tool and take the weed out manually. I'm going to go ahead and find another, yeah, so here's just kind of a normal broadleaf. Step on it and pull. And same story, you've got the entire root system. Here is the weed itself, and then we're going to use the eject handle again. And there we go. And here's another grassy clump style weed. And we have this probably medium sized one, and then the slightly bigger one over here. We're going to take it on the medium one, because remember, neither of these are going to do great on really big clump style weeds. And I'll give you all a demonstration of both just so you can see what I'm referring to. But I'm going to go ahead and press that in. I will say the plastic handle on the Fiskars, it does feel a little less durable than the Grampa's weeder, which is metal, and it hasn't had any give or moved or anything like that. I think it's just the feel of it, just because it's plastic versus metal. But let's go ahead and extract. And again, wow, the root system was actually deeper than you would think, but here is the weed. And then we're going to pull the eject handle, and then it releases. And now I'm going to show y'all what it looks like to go after a really big clump style grassy weed, and it's going to be a lot less successful. It might pull out part of it, but very rarely. With either tool are you going to be able to pull out just the entire thing in one fell swoop like you would on some of those other weeds. So we'll go after it with Grampa's weeder here in the middle. And you can see we probably got about half of that weed out. And that's what that looks like. So not too bad of a job there, but you can see there's still a lot of weed that is left. And now we'll go after the rest of it with the Fiskars. So right here. And then pull back. And you can see the Fiskars got even less than the Grampa's weeder there. But hopefully, if you're going to use either of these tools in your lawn, you're going to have a lot more manageable size weeds to work on. So in conclusion, if you're going to undertake some manual weed pulling in your lawn, I don't think you can really go wrong with either tool. But I did find the Fiskars was slightly easier to use. I did really like the eject handle that allowed you to let go of the weed without having to reach all the way down to the end of the extraction head. And the serrated and sharper claws here did make it easier to cut through the soil. The only thing that I really didn't necessarily love about it was the fact that this handle here is plastic, and it didn't feel quite as durable when I was stepping on it with my foot to try to get it deeper into the soil to get a good grip around the weed. The Grampa's weeder, tried and true, it also performed really well, and it does feel more durable, which is the thing that I like the most about this simple design. Wooden handle, metal extraction head, metal handle here that you use for leverage and that you use to extract the weeds. And when you step on this metal handle, you don't feel like it's going to give it all. You don't feel like you're in danger of breaking anything. And overall, I do think that this is probably the more durable tool, and that I would expect this to last me more seasons than the Fiskars. But like I said, I think you're probably gonna be okay either way. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video right here. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you did, please leave it a like. If you're enjoying the content and you wanna continue to see more of it, hit that black subscribe button below the video. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave those in the comment section below. I'll see y'all again soon. Lawn Insider, out.